Murty, fair play, you've done a good job. No need of worrying so much about it. Yeah, first of all, welcome you all here tonight. I hope you have a good enjoyable night and make the best of it. Yeah. So, behind that then, next job, Tadhg, welcome. Welcome to the Hunt Club. And what can I say about the McCarthy's and the Sullivans? We've known them for years. All Pete, that he's not here this evening, I believe, but yeah, he was called up for us since I was about so high. And the start started from there, I was. And with that then, Marie seemed to know Liz waiting for the bus in Skull. Marie said, come in, don't be standing around. So with that then, they got to know each other. And from then on, we were invited to Westmorland then to see this new baby Tadhg. Yeah, Tadhg was a small baby, and we seen him. There's his after growing up since. And that was the Sullivans and the McCarthy's on the same night. And Tim decided he should invite me out up there Manor Road to see the fine co-box he'd made. So with that, we had to make a deal on that. And the famous co-box is still going to him. Yeah. So I said, we know each other for long enough. Yeah. Now, down to Helen, the woman of the night. Yeah. What can I say about her? Only that everything with Helen must be perfect. Whether she's icing a cake or choosing a man for the rest of her life. It's all perfect, so she's done that. So, have a good night, everybody. Enjoy yourselves.
Bride and groom, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I'd like to congratulate the bride and groom on their wedding day, and officially welcome Helen into the family. As you know, Marie and myself don't have a daughter, so today we get the next best thing in a daughter-in-law. And I think you'll all agree, I think she's a stunning looking bride today, in fairness. As George said, Helen, you know, she's a very talented, very smart, very hard-working girl, and I've no doubt she'll make a wonderful wife for Tadhg. Tadhg, on the other hand, I suppose if I was to describe him, I'd probably use 3 words. And I'd probably use the same 3 to describe his mother. And that is genuine, kind and caring. And I suppose I wasn't going to include a small story, but I suppose maybe today is the day to tell it too. 20 years ago, last August, we were asked to a wedding. My first cousin down there, Sonia and Tom. She's the good-looking one down there. Your man is punchy way above his weight, believe me. But anyway, Marie was expecting Kieran and she wasn't feeling well, so Tadhg went to the wedding with me instead in the Castle-Ross in Killarney. And of course he came home telling his mother what a beautiful hotel and setting it was. And little did we know, a couple of weeks later he arrived on with a letter and handed it to his mother, and he said, "Here, Mum, when you get better," he said, "yourself and Dad maybe have a weekend away in that hotel in Killarney." So he said, "You know, you brought a lot of your mother's good qualities in fairness to you." Look, Tadhg and Helen have invited people here from far and near. We have Mick Dundee here all the way from Australia. And we have people here from France, bonjour. And then we have people from Sligo down to Wexford. Speaking of Wexford, actually, someone asked me a while ago, who was that tall fellow over there? He said, "Is he a famous boxer?" I said, "No," and I said, "He's a hurler." Jesus, no, he said, "I think he's a..." No, I said, but the one thing we both agreed on in here, whether he is or he isn't a boxer, he's punching well above his weight in here. And then of course, look, we have people from Monaghan all the way down to definitely the most beautiful parish in Ireland, and that is Goleen. Somebody was telling me there, and just look, it's only a rumour, but sure maybe there's somebody truth in it too, that there was a new wedding planning company starting up in the spring, and I think it was going to be known as HST or something, Wedding Planners West Cork. I think the H was standing for Helen. She planned the wedding and made the cake. The S was for Shane Manny. He planned the stag. Speaking of which, George, we wouldn't ask to a certain stag like but anyway. And the T then I think was going to, you could get tuition on how to do the proper proposal. And by all accounts, the boy here, he left poor old William and Harry in the halfpenny place in there when proposing to Kate and Megan anyway. So, you know, it'll probably be a website, you know, so you can keep an eye out for it. I'm particularly delighted here to see my two aunts here tonight. Auntie Nora and Auntie Kit. Know a lot of you won't know these two women. But look, you'll have no bother in figuring them out later on the night now, because once these two will get a few glasses of wine into them now and the music gets lively, they'll be like Mrs. Brown across the floor with the air guitars and they'll be giving it holly. But sure look, they don't get out, they're both pinching age now, they don't get out too often, so let them enjoy themselves. You know, we're, as a man said, years ago in farming, the horse and the pony and the donkey were very important animals in the farm before tractors arrived. And this particular man had a prize donkey, but just one morning he went out, the donkey was gone. Son never shut the door the night before. Christ, the father was livid in you. And he said to him, go, your man was only about 16 or 17 now, an innocent young fella, struck off, and he said, don't come back, you'll find a donkey in you. So he struck off, and he should have walked miles, and he was exhausted, and then he went into this kind of a village, and Jesus, he said, he went in, and he said to some fella, is there any place to stay here for the night? I don't know, he said, go up there to Mrs. Murphy, she keeps people, and he went up anyway, and he said, any bed for the night? She said, no, we're full. Ah, Jesus, any place I could lie down? She said, look, you can lie under a bed. There's a couple staying tonight, they're a newly married couple, keep your mouth shut, stay quiet. Oh, fine, he said, so man fell sound asleep. And here, Jesus, I heard the door opening, and in came the couple. And the two got into bed anyway. And the next thing he could hear your man saying to your man, I can see the world in your eyes. And your man pops out the head, he said, have another look, see, could you see my father's donkey? There was a couple in a restaurant there tonight in Ballyhob, and they were having a lovely meal, and anyway, one had a glass of wine, and she said, I love you, she said, and I don't know what I'd ever do without you. And your man said, is that the wine starting to talk? And no, he said that. She said, that's me talking to the wine, she said. There was years ago there was a priest, and he was dead down drinking. This Sunday morning, and when I came to the middle of Mass, and he went into the sacristy, he came out with 2 glasses and a matchbox, and he put them up in the thing anyway, and he said, this is a lesson now, he said, particularly for those of you down the back that drink too much, he said. And he had opened the matchbox, and he took out a worm, and he put it into the glass of water, and he swam around anyway, and he took them out in, and he put them into the glass of whiskey, and he drowned. And he says, well, no, and he said down the back, he said, does that teach you anything? He said the badness of drink. Well, one fellow said, he said, all I know is, he said, if you drink plenty of whiskey, you'll have no worms. I'm nearly at the end of it now, lads. So, that was, I'm not saying who it was now, but a particular couple there on Skull. And Stevens' day, they had a bit of lunch, and the man said, I'm going out for a walk. He said, stretch the legs, and off he went out Colorado anyway. And before he left, though, I said, look, maybe we'll go out for a drink tonight, you know. So that's grand anyway. He met one of his old school pals, and you know nearly what happened in here. We'll go for one. And anyway, one became two, and the man wasn't coming back in the end. She was trying to ring him, and then she was texting him, and I text, I'll be on soon, and then no show, text again, and then no reply. Eventually, he staggers in the door, and he looted, fell into bed, sound asleep. Jesus, you see, one before he came home, she was gone sick. So they got a big box of Black Magic chocolates for Christmas, and she was diving into them. And anyway, she said, I'll play a trick in him now. So she got the red ribbon in here, thrown the box of Black Magic chocolates up, went up, pulled the trousers off him, and tied the red ribbon, you know where. So next morning, a man walked anyway, and she said, where were you all hours last night? I haven't a clue, he said. And he looked down, he says, well, wherever I was, I got first prize anyway. Listen, let you all have a wonderful day, look, and a happy new year to you all, and it's great to see you all here, and thank you very much.
Right. Hi everyone, I have a little speech, but I promise I'll make it quick. So I just wanted to say that, first of all, we'll have to compliment the groomsmen. I think we can all agree they look absolutely stunning tonight. As do the bridesmaids. And I have to, and I just want to say I'm so glad to have Aisling, Tara and Mady by my side today. They're terrific looking after me. So today has been a really special day for us, of course, since we marked into the diary back in October 2021. Like Timmy said, after Tadhg's very well planned out, we'll judge the speech in a minute, after Tadhg's very well planned out proposal. And I'll just give you an idea of how this all went. So Tadhg had planned the proposal from start to finish, and he had booked a trip to Mayo. So as we travelled along from Cork to Cong, Tadhg received a phone call through the car which told the both of us that the toilet seat in our room was broken and they would need to travel to Ballinrobe to get this new toilet seat. And a suggestion was made that while we wait for our toilet seat to travel the 11 kilometres from Ballinrobe and be fitted in our room, that we take a walk in Cong. So after this, Tadhg became particularly quiet and a bit cranky. And Tadhg's never cranky, I think we all know that. So I'm thinking to myself, he's going to propose in the room. This has upset his plan altogether. And anyway, so I like to know where we're going, what we're doing, where we're parking. And I knew Cong was a small town. There wasn't a lot of parking. So anyway, on the way in, I point out to Tadhg, look, there's a car parked there. We'll park there and we'll go for a walk, to which I was totally ignored and Tadhg just kept on driving. And I thought, geez, now this toilet seat scenario was really affecting Tadhg, and I won't get annoyed, because I normally wouldn't take well to being ignored. But anyway, we get into Cong and we're parked and we're out, and there's a walking map of the area, so I'm straight over, reading the information map, telling Tadhg there's a lovely path just around the corner and we'll go take our walk there. And anyway, we're heading towards the path, there's loads of people around, and we meet another information board, so I have to stop, I have to read it. I love the information boards. And it turns out there's this beautiful stained glass in the church. So I insist we go into the church to see this stained glass. Anyway, Tadhg's still out of sorts, and we head off. And we're on the path anyway, and there's a river, and there's trees and bridges, and it's gorgeous. And I'm really hoping now this is going to lift Tadhg's spirits while we wait that extra hour until he proposes in the room. But anyway, we're heading down the path, and there's a good few people walking towards us. And anyway, we reach this little house on a pier looking at the river, and there's an information board, so I'm looking, and anyway, Tadhg he's not really into the information boards the same way I am, so we're kind of a bit separated. And anyway, I'm looking around and I've seen the house, and next thing I hear, Tadhg's finally taken an interest, and he said, look, what's that? And I look over and I say, that's a green shed. And so I've turned, because there's this really nice archway, and I'm on the way there, until I hear again, look, what's that? And I look and I say, that's a green shed. And I turn and I'm getting a bit concerned now. Tadhg's eyesight's bad at the best of times, but usually he can make out buildings. And anyway, I've gone off again and I hear Helen, and I'm thinking to myself, if he asked me one more time about that becking shed. But anyway, I turn and I'm totally wrong. Tadhg's down on one knee, apparently on vibrate. He's shaking so much. Asking asking, will you marry me? To which I never responded. I was so caught off guard. We never got an answer. But anyway, because it turned out it was all a setup and I had been totally played. As the people that were hanging around the church were actually, among them was a photographer making her way down to snap the moment I proposed, which I obviously went unknown to me. Lots of the people walking towards us had been cleared by the photographer because they were in the spot where Tadhg wanted to propose. And the walk I felt I had been guiding Tadhg on was exactly to where he wanted to propose. And you might have guessed it, but the toilet seat was never broken. Anyway, this has been, of course, a date which we really look forward to since we put into the diary, a day in which we hope that would be full of excitement, a day in which it was set out as a target for us, and a day in which everything would be back to normal. And I'm delighted to say that today has been brilliant. We've had so much fun, we're full of happiness and excitement, and of course COVID has played a little part because some people haven't been able to make it, but all my family are here and I just couldn't be more grateful for that. Anyway, I'm into my last few sentences now, and these are extremely important. I must wish a happy birthday to my cousin Martin. And thank him for putting up the signposts. You all made it. Well, I think everyone's made it, so I take it they were in the right place. And of course, there's a very big, important birthday to Ger O'Callaghan, who's turned 30 today. On the back of every place setting, where your name is, there's a little wax seal with clinking glasses. On behalf of the Hunts and McCarthy's, we would like you to treat yourself to a cocktail later. The cocktail bar will open after dinner, or a pint in the bar, so mind your place settings and bring them with you. And woo! Lastly, since I met Tadhg, you've made everything more fun, more special and more wonderful. As the Irish saying goes, Marine Cree, a drum of odd, meaning a light heart lives longest, and I can say with 100% certainty, since you became a part of my life, my heart has lightened, and it's all down to you. Thanks for listening, and I think my husband is up next.
Firstly, we're off to a good start because I wanted a bullet point of speech and then forgot it in the room. So not exactly the start we were looking for, but I suppose first and foremost, guys, on behalf of my wife and I would like to thank everybody for making such a big effort to be with us here today. We couldn't be happier. It means the world to us to have our close friends and family with us on our special day, and I know we've people that have made a big effort and travelled from Perth in Australia, Dubai, Canada, Paris, Castletownbere, Wexford, I can see the Wexicans, and even a few Dubs managed to sneak in, I think. Thank you all for coming, it means the world to us. Next, I suppose, to Orla and our team here in Ballinacurra. Thank you for doing such a fantastic job. The place looks amazing. You've been a dream to work with, and it means a lot to us. So thank you for that. Next up, I suppose, really, we couldn't let tonight go without a special mention to the big man from the bottom of Stawball Hill. If it wasn't for him, this night mightn't have taken place. So thank you, Jason. Thank you, Jason, for introducing me to Helen. I'll buy you a pint later. To the Hunt family, first and foremost, from the moment I set foot in Coolanullar, I've always felt incredibly welcome. Coming down from Dublin when Helen and I were driving down, I always look forward to the chats and a cup of tea when we got there, and it's been brilliant. And since we moved back to Schull, it's been even better. So thank you for making me feel welcome. To George and Liz, you're a terrific example of a couple working together as a team. and that's something that I hope Helen and I can emulate going forward. Next up, I suppose, to my own parents. My brothers and I are very fortunate to have grown up in a very loving home, and we never wanted for anything. Now, for those of you who know my parents, and in typical Irish fashion, that love might have been shown in 2 different ways, but it was, but it was certainly there. I suppose one story about my parents and me and Helen, I think, which is funny. As most of us here can relate, when a relationship starts to get serious, there comes that point where the initial meet and greet has to happen with the parents. So, like many of you probably have done in the past, I sat Mum and Dad down before they were meeting Helen. I said, please don't embarrass me. So, to Dad, I said no cringy jokes and keep the 20-minute long stories to a minimum. And to Mom, I said, please don't go full Mrs. Doyle. If she doesn't want a cup of tea, a 3-course meal, or a side of beef, let's just leave it at that. When I picked up Helen and when we landed into the yard in Gurton Grove, I had the engine of the car turned off and I saw the front door burst open. And before I had a chance to get around to the other side of the car, I'm sure with what was intended as a hug, but more accurately resembled a tackle of Peter O'Mahony, Mom had grabbed Helen, and when I got around to the car, all I could see was Helen's hands clung to her side, no sign of the bear hug stopping, and I was just like, that is definitely playing a cool Mom. Thank you very much. But I think, realistically, it was she was delighted that I had met someone from a family she knew, and that she knew was going to be lovely, so it was probably the enthusiasm got the better of her at that stage. To the beautiful bridesmaids, thank you very much for all your support and help over the last few days preparing for this. It's been brilliant, and to Helen and I really appreciate it, so thank you for that. To the groomsmen and the best men, you've gone above and beyond for everything I've asked you to do or anything that was required for today, so I was absolutely delighted to have all of you up there beside me. So thank you for that. And finally, and most importantly, to my beautiful wife, your infectious enthusiasm and positive attitude always puts a smile on my face and amazes me. Where most people say they can't do something, you just roll up your sleeves and you dive straight in and get it done. No questions asked. An example of this, it was, I suppose, just before Christmas, we were sitting down one night and I said to Helen, what do you want for Christmas? And without batting an eyelid, she said, a carpenter's chop saw. Wasn't exactly the answer I was expecting, so I just turned to Helen and I said, Helen, why do you want a chop saw? And she said, various projects. So, you heard it here first, Helen Hunt Construction will be kicking off in 2023. Helen, you are one truly remarkable, kind and intelligent person. Every day, even in a little way, through a kind word, a small gesture, a gesture or a selfless act, you remind me just how lucky I am to have you by my side. If we can continue to create the amazing memories and experience the happiness we've shared for the next 60 plus years as we have over the past 6, I will class that as the greatest gift I could ever wish to receive.
I think we're going to have a job to beat any of them speeches, but I'll give it a go anyway. Hello and welcome everyone to Tadhg and Helen's big day. For those who don't know me, I'm Edward, Tadhg's brother. I'm not a hectic public speaker, so please bear with me. Firstly, I want to welcome Helen into the family and say what an honour it is to call you my sister-in-law. And how amazing you look today. And I'm not just saying it. I do want to say Aisling, Tara and Mady, you also look lovely. And just to let you know I'm single if you feel it. I want to say a massive thanks to this man to my left, Shane Manny, who organised the stag in Galway 5 or 6 weeks ago that I was lucky enough to come back to, but I had no part to play in it. David Henry in front of me, Kieran and Shane Newman to my left also had a big part to play. I pretty much flew home, got off the plane and got on a bus, went up and had a great time. It was probably one of the best weekends of my life. So I think all the lads that were here could verify that was a brilliant weekend. So thanks very much. coming from me to people a high standard like Helen and Tadhg, I don't have much advice to give you. But I give you a small bit of advice when you're going to think about babies. And I can only go off Mum and Dad here to my right. They obviously thought a lot about Tadhg and put a lot of effort into Tadhg. And he turned out right pretty good, nice kid. And then I think they got a bit excited and panicked and had me for 2 years. And then they kind of ironed out the problems and took a 10-year gap and had Kieran. And he turned out pretty good too. So just calm it down and have a think before you do it. Going back to Helen and Tadhg, and I just want to say I want to steal some bit of the glory. I know Jason Donegan took a big part and introduced them, but there was one night I remember back, it was a good few years ago now, we've only 2 showers in our house in Ballyhow, but Timmy was getting ready for some cattle meeting, so we couldn't go to that shower, so me and Tadhg were getting ready for some night and calves week years ago, and he was shaving and I was gelling the hair and it was going on, and I was saying to him, right Tadhg, I said, go out and find a woman now from Dublin or Cork, they're up your way now, you're up in the city, and find one of them with a holiday house down here, you can take the holiday house from the fair and store you. Chatting away like this. Next thing, Tadhg keeps his cards close to his chest and he wouldn't give away much, obviously, as we know, as his friends know. And he kind of said there was a woman on the scene, but I didn't know anything about it. Mum and Dad obviously knew nothing about it. A few lads in Dublin might. But after a while he let it slip and he mentioned Helen Hunt, and I was like, I know the name but I don't know much about her. And I started prodding and pigging and I got a few information out of him and still didn't give away much. And then I kind of told him, sure, she'd be right, you go another one. Next thing I didn't realise how serious the whole thing was, and it was going on with a while. So he was there and I said, so why don't you ask her out if you're that mad about her? And still humming and hawing, and as Tadhg needs a bit of a shoe up the hole at times, like. And I said to him, I says, right Tadhg, I said, name out 5 bad things and 5 good things. So he named out 5 good things. She did this, she's this, and next year, right, name the bad things. And he was, oh. I says, right, ask her out, you bollocks. Some of you might know, some of you don't. Tadhg and my relationship was very strong growing up. We were like best friends and brothers. We can definitely say it was entertaining working with Timmy Timper here, and our it is. I'm very lucky that Tadhg's so level-headed and calm, because with the amount of fights me and Timmy had, he probably saved me from living at this stage. I won't go into too many because there is too much. But even though Tadhg is a straight A student and never put a foot out of line, in the house that Helen and Tadhg live in now in Skull, where, as you well know, Mom had a butcher shop there and Timmy went working with her. And when we were younger, a lot of the boys that played with us when we were younger, we used to make a lot of racket. And there was just one day in particular, Tadhg and me were making racket and we were jumping, and Dad was trying to sell meat down the bottom of down underneath, and we were banging, and he came up and he tried reasoning with us, and we gave him a bit of cheek, and he went away, got the stick, and he beat our ass. Anyway, me and Tadhg were a bit brazen, mainly Tadhg, not me, and he watched where Timmy put the stick. Anyway, after we pulled our pants up and we stopped crying, and we found the stick, cracked it into 3 pieces and threw it into the neighbour's lawn. So then we waited for about 20 minutes and we started jumping 20 times worse down. Timmy came up, he didn't go to reason with us this time, and he went for the stick straight away. And then he realised the stick was gone and he started getting the temper up worse, pulled off his belt and reddened our asses. So Tadhg isn't a pure angel. Now I might get this chance to speak like this again in a long time, but I do want to say, on behalf of myself, Helen, Aisling, Tadhg and Kieran, I don't think we could ask for better parents than what we have, and I think you did a great job raising us, so thanks very much. Tadhg, it was an absolute honour to stand up here and be your best man today. Kieran, I couldn't ask for a better brother or a role model and a bigger brother, so thanks very much. I'm super proud of how far you've came in life and the dedication and hard work you've done in your career, so fair play to you. Now, there's a few birthdays mentioned earlier from Tadhg and Helen. There's a birthday tomorrow from a very, very famous man and a best friend of mine, and that's Sean Keller over there. Now, that's all from me, and thanks very much for listening. There's one thing that I just added in. I got a boiro off Timmy a while ago, and I think we can all say that my mother's speech today blew me away, and it was an absolute inspirational speech, so very well done, Mom. Now, please raise your glasses to newly wedded Tadhg and Helen.